All right, pre-K, it's time to find out the plan that Boris and Elmer have hatched to help his family escape from the cave. But before we start, have you thought about what the plan might be? If you're sitting next to somebody, tell them what you think the plan is. And if you're by yourself, just think it in your head. All right, let's get started. Chapter 10, Escape. Boris! Boris! Whispered Elmer from under the snapdragon bush. Are they all right? What's happened? Asked the dragon. Nothing's happened. Everyone's all right and we're ready to go. I couldn't see the net, but we'll hope for the best. Did you say one of the men is called Frank? Yeah, I heard the mention of Frank and an Albert. Good, good. I'll meet you here afterwards. I told your family you'd have to take me back and that you'd find them near here someplace. Fine, said the dragon. I can't wait. All right now, I'm going back. Remember, as soon as you hear my cat pistol the third time, you're to make as much noise with the horn and the whistle as you possibly can. Elmer turned back down into the tunnel and hurried to the big cave. Everyone was ready. Boris will be your signal, he explained. As soon as you hear him blowing his horn and his whistle, you're all to blow as hard as you can in every direction. I'll yell, Boris, when it's time to charge, but look carefully at the net before you try to pass by. I don't know where the opening will be. Are you ready? Whispered Elmer, his heart pounding so hard he was sure it must echo through the cave. Ready, whispered the 15 waiting dragons. Elmer crept up close to the net. The men were unrolling the blankets and getting ready for the night. There was no moon. Perfect, thought Elmer. He took out his cat pistol and fired it once. Then, help! Help! He cried in a gruff voice. Get me out of here! I'm trapped! The men jumped up, tripping all over their blankets and bumping into one another. What was that? They shouted. Somebody's in the cave! Frank! Albert! Help! Help! Yelled Elmer again. Come on, let's hurry, said the men, and they began moving great boulders off the edge of the net. So that's how they fastened down the bottom, thought Elmer. That should make it easy. And then he shot off his pistol again and cried, They got me! Help! The men frantically rolled away the boulders. Just as they began pulling aside the heavy net, Elmer shot off the pistol for the third time and ran back into the cave. Boris heard the third shot and began blowing his whistle and horn and running up and down over the meadow. As the noise echoed over the lake, the 15 trapped dragons started in on their whistles and horns. Noise roared wildly through the cave, back and forth across the lake, and echoed madly all around the circles of mountains. Some of the men had started off when they heard Boris. The others, who had been about to rescue Elmer, ran out of the cave in terror. Elmer shouted, Boris! And raced back through the tunnel. The 15 dragons surged through the entrance and found where the men had pulled aside the net and poured through the opening, trampling out the campfire as they came. Into the sky they zoomed, still blowing their whistles and their horns. Then they disappeared into the darkness, leaving 13 men scattered over the meadow where they had fled, and 3 men sitting in the lake water where they had jumped. What happened? Said Frank to Albert. The last chapter, which we'll read tomorrow, is called The Dragon Affair.